Hello everybody, this is Tom Mooty at West End Baptist Church. Got a question for you. Who's your best friend? Who's the one you turn to? He's the one that's always there. Who is that to you? Ladies, you got a best friend? Guys, you got a best friend? How about you young people? You got a best friend? They're right there, aren't they? Oh, but wait, suppose they're not there sometime when you really need them. And you go out and you try to find them, and you look to the left and you look to the right and you look straight ahead and you look behind you, and they're nowhere to be found. Got a hot flash for you folks. You're looking in the wrong direction. Your best friend is not to the left or the right. He's up. Look up. Look up to him, because he will never leave you nor forsake you. He will never, that's what he said, he will never leave you nor forsake you. So you worried? Hey, don't be. His word is the gold standard of truth. When he says it, it is gold, as we would say today. It's always going to be true, no matter what. He says not to worry. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me, Jesus said. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you, I'm going to prepare a place for you, and if I do, I will come again to receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. He says, don't worry. Believe in God. Believe in Jesus Christ. We'll present him to you at West End Baptist Church. Come see us, and God bless you. To add to the prayer list, it's already printed, but we can add to it. And for Sunday, if you have any, go ahead and just write it on that piece of paper right there in front of you, and we'll take care of that. I will tell you this. You may have heard, who am I thinking about? Crowder. Daisy Crowder passed away, and the funeral service is actually going on tonight. I'm sorry? Daisy Crowder passed away. She was a member of this church at one time, went up to Grace, and they're burying her tomorrow up at the funeral home at Manus up there. All right, remember that request. Also, we've been praying for Mike Fitzpatrick. Mike Fitzpatrick is the father-in-law of Amy Fitzpatrick's husband, Robert, who is the daughter of Ernie and Vanessa. That's the connection that we have. I've asked them where the funeral service is going to be. I was planning on going to it, but it's somewhere in Kentucky, Floyd County or something like that, way up yonder somewhere or another. Ernie can't even go because they can't go to the funeral service. But remember that family, if you will, please, okay? Okay, let's talk for just a minute about this one right here, which is Beyond Mountains, number 8. Somebody tell me what you think of when I say snake oil. Snake oil. What are you thinking about right now? Traveling salesman? The Watkins brushes people? Snake oil. This starts out tonight with a couple of snake oil salesmen. Won't tell you who they are, and they don't tell you who they are until later on, but you can start to figure out what this is all about. They are trying to sell or buy a piece of property, and they're trying to confuse this Jewish man, and they do deceive him. And so, well, you'll see the snake oil salesman at work, okay? They use a couple of definitions. 5 talents. 5 talents is 1 year wage. Now you remember they had 10 talents. Some had 10 talents. One had 5 talents. One had 1 talent. In Jesus' illustration, a 5 talent is 1 year, and they are using 49 talents. That's what they're paying for this piece of property. So that is 10 years of wage. Talent is a definition of money, so you can kind of see what it's all about. Also, they use the term, that sounds like Hellenism. Hellenism. Anybody want to take a shot at what that means? That sounds like Hellenism. There were two styles of Jewish people, Hebraists and Hellenists. Hebraists were the Jews that stayed in Israel. They spoke Hebrew, they wear the black coats, they have the sideburns, and the very Orthodox Jewish people. Hellenists are those that moved out in Italy and Ethiopia and places like that. That's Hellenism. Okay, so this guy is saying that sounds like Hellenism. In other words, sound like you're losing your faith. You're losing your Orthodox faith. They refer to the sermon. The sermon. What do you think that's talking about? The Sermon on the Mount. The sermon. They're getting ready for the sermon. One of the apostles is nicknamed Z. Z-E-E. What do you think he is? That's the zealot. That's Simon the Zealot. He's the one that's always exercising, doing that judo and all that stuff, making and everything. They tell him put his shirt on because the women are coming out. He just didn't have an undershirt on. He's clothes, but he put a shirt on. The women are coming out. You have to understand the situation in which we find them living in. You will notice that when they write something, they write from right to left. We write from left to right, and we read from left to right. They read and write from right to left. You say they're wrong. No, they're right. They were first. They got it right. We changed it. She's writing some things, and you'll see how she's making letters from right to left. When I use a computer, my computer has a font that uses Hebrew letters. And so when you start typing, you type an A, it will put the Hebrew letter Aleph, but it goes over to the right side of the page. It goes this way, backwards, okay? It's pretty neat, okay? She's learning a Bible verse. Now here's the way Hebrew reads. Talk they like Yoda talks. Hebrew is written Yoda-like. Talk they like Yoda. You know who Yoda are? Star Wars, the little guy, the little puppet. He like this talks. That's the way Hebrew is written. You have to understand. Spielberg and all these people are Jewish people. When they wrote that, there's a lot of symbols and signs in that. By the way, just to let you know, what does this mean? What does this mean? Huh? Nana. I've jumped from Star Wars to Star Trek. That's Mr. Spock. Leonard Nimoy is Jewish. And he put this in there. That's the Jewish letter Shema. Means peace, for shalom. When he does that, he's actually giving you a Hebrew letter because he himself is Jewish and nobody knew what he was doing there for a while. And finally, he told them what was going on. Just a little bit of thing. Another little insight. They're going to do the Sermon on the Mount, and they're using, is it 2,000 or 3,000? 2,000 extras from northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska. They all came down there to be in that one scene. They made their own costumes, and for 3 days they're filming outdoors in sub-freezing weather. Sub-freezing weather, and you wouldn't know it to see that. You're going to see the final scene in this tonight. And just remember, it's about 20 degrees when they're doing that. And there are a couple of people that you'll see covered up with a cloth or something like that. Now, what I was telling you about Hebrew,
They write backwards, or they write right. Well, we write backwards. She's learning Hebrew. Rama, the girl, the winery girl, she's learning Hebrew, and she comes across a word. This is the way it's written. Form not. Form not. That's the way it's written. It means unformed. Unformed. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. While you were formed not, you knew. That's the way it's written, like Yoda talks. And she's reading that, and she's having trouble learning how to read. Mary's back. Mary Magdalene is back. She can't get over it. She's really sorry about what happened. What happened to her? Anybody remember? She backslid. That's what she did. She just simply backslid. Some would say she lost her salvation. She backslid. Jesus forgave her and brought her right on back into the fold, okay? So the simple truth is, and she's sorry. She's really sorry about that. Now, we have a little bit of a infatuation going on between Thomas and Rama. That's the vintner and the one who grew the grapes. And he's got a crush on her. And so just keep watching that couple, okay? You're going to meet another disciple tonight. Now we've seen 11 of them. Not going to ask you to name which ones we've seen, but there's only one that we haven't seen. Judas Iscariot. Ishkaroth means man from Keroth. Keroth is a village in Israel, and Judas is a man from Keroth. Judas Ishkaroth. That's what his name means. They're out there looking for a site for the sermon. And Jesus sent them out there and said, I want you to look for this, 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 and that. Look for a view of the Sea of Galilee behind some gum trees. And they're looking and they say, you know what? I think he already knows what he wants. He probably knows where that is. All we got to do is find it. Of course he knows where it is. He invented it. He made it. He created it, but he's looking for it. Now we're going to see a couple of enemies, Shamuel, and Shimon. Those three rabbis. They're always plotting to get rid of Nicodemus. They want to shoot Nicodemus out of the saddle. And so you'll see that. They're still trying to find out who Jesus is. Give me some evidence about Jesus. And we want to get rid of him first of all, because I think Nicodemus is leaning towards him. I'm not really sure, but I think Nicodemus is leaning towards him. They refer to the praetor. The praetor. Anybody remember who or what is the praetor? Praetor. The head guy of what? The head guy of the military. He's the bald-headed guy, the praetor. Okay, all right. Now, Jesus says something earth-shaking. Gospel is open to all. And guess who's having problems with that? Every one of them. Because they've all got baggage. Simon was you know what Simon was. Matthew was a tax collector. Big James and John, they're sons of thunder. They want to fuss and fight all the time. The other Simon wants to kill people. He's a paid assassin. They've all got baggage. Don't we all have baggage? We all have baggages. And Jesus said it is open to all. And he looks over at the one that everybody's picking on, and that's little Matthew. It's open to all. You'll see that. Now, what does this mean? What does that mean? Went over your head. Would Jesus use that expression? This one does. So when you see it, you'll say, well, he's human after all, isn't he? Goes right over your head there. Okay. Now they've got the sermon, and they're handing out flyers. They took a page out of our handbook. They're handing out flyers and saying, we're going to be preaching right over there. Handing out flyers. Hand bills, really handmade bills, written backwards. Okay, they're getting ready for it, and they're preparing the site. Got to hurry. Mary asked the question. He's out there preparing. I have a problem with this. I don't think Jesus had to have any kind of help to prepare his sermon. I've just got a little bit of a problem, but he is using Matthew because Matthew is a very educated man. And Rhema asked the question that somebody says, what if he makes a mistake? In front of all these thousands of people, his influence would be lost. What if he makes a mistake? And Rhema says, can he make a mistake? Can he do anything wrong? She's even in her beginning stage of Christianity. She's got it. Okay, she understands. Okay, who is Eden? Eden. Who is that? That's Simon Peter's wife. She comes back on the scene. Who is Abba and Emma? Father and mother. Okay, they come back on the scene. They use those words. I want you to be looking for them. At the last, Mary, they call her Mother Mary, Mother Emma, looks at her son, Jesus, and Jesus says, Emma says, I'm thinking about your father. And Jesus says, which one? So Jesus had an earthly father, stepfather, and he knew it and she knew it, but they're the only two that really know, because Joseph is gone, and he says, I miss Joseph. I miss him. Shows his humanity. Shows his humanity. Any questions or comments? Look for those little key words. Don't miss them. This is not the best sound in this big old building, so just pick out and watch the bottom, the graphics. Okay, are you ready? All right, ready? 8.